YouTube, what's going on today, man? It's Justin Revs. This is SlopGear, episode 1, the Raceless interview. I'm so stoked, but I do have to apologize. I made the biggest amateur mistake and I didn't hit record for the longest time. So, this is it's all going to be Raceless's footage. My mic quality sounds real bad. This made me order a new mic and a mixer and all that stuff, so that way this doesn't happen again. Number 1 issue, I'm going to press record. Number 2, I'm going to sound better next time, okay? So don't base the whole experience on this. This is episode 1. This is when you get the sloppy, it's called SlopGear, dude. That's what I'm just kidding. It's going to get better from here, guys. But we had such a good conversation. I couldn't be like, oh, could we start over, dude? So it's all going to be from his point of view. I'm going to sound like crap. But Raceless sounds really good. The game audio's good. And dude, we have such a good conversation. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know who you want to see next. I'm not going to say, let me know if you want me to do this again, because I'm going to do it again. I had such a good time. But, all right. I'm just going to throw you guys into it now. We'll talk to you later. I love you. God loves you. Cooper loves you. Enjoy.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. This looks like it's going to be a really fun day.
Well, thanks, dude. Well, I'm Justin Revs. This is Raceless. This is SlopGear. It's the podcast where I take out your favorite BeamNG creators and we go rock crawling and just have a conversation. We're going to get to know this guy, the guy behind the keyboard, behind our favorite mod.
I hadn't heard the SlopGear title yet. That got me off guard.
Yeah,
I love that,
dude. Well, it's I'm into it. Like I was trying to be a little different. It's episode 1. I was trying to get something a little different, dude. So I'm excited about it. So let's see what's the rig, dude. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is our off-road blue buck. It's actually built on a Roamer chassis, and it so underneath it's pretty much the same as a Roamer, or at least what parts you'll find. This originally was purchased out of Joe's Junk as a blue buck. It was a little difficult, but we did end up getting it to work in Career to get the chassis swap. Kind of lost track of budget. Not really sure if it really went over the budget or not, but it we tried to keep it to 30K. It has 40-inch tires in the back. I can't remember what the rims they are. I think there's called like five slots or something like that. It has a 291 V8 in it. I think it's just really side pipes, a 4-barrel carb, and that's pretty much it. Lifted suspension as high as you can get it, softened it up a little bit, took out the rear sway bar. It should be fine, but it's not going to be quick. It's quite the boat. It only makes about 200 horsepower. But
you know what, dude? We're going slow anyways. If you go fast, you're just going to break stuff.
Exactly. So, it had a manual in it at first, but then it was kind of, I couldn't keep it slow kind of thing. So I had to put it on. I ended up putting a 2-speed automatic because it's all I could afford. It does have a low range crawler transfer case, but
okay, perfect.
And it's let's see, welded diffs in the back, lockers in the front. So,
dude, we have basically the same setup except I have a solid front axle and I have a 4.5 liter V8 that makes about 200 horsepower. So
I really wanted to be able to afford that, but the problem too I always run into when I do those solid lifts is the steering gets all wonky, and so I wanted to keep a pretty straight alignment.
Well, good luck. Dude, I'm excited. This is part of what I was envisioning, dude. I want to get people a little bit out of their element, and it's gonna be it's a lot of rocks. I explained to you it goes from mild to wild. So we're gonna cruise up to this little lake first.
Okay.
And then that's kind of saying hello, easing you in. And then after that it's gonna get a little dicey.
I look forward to it. Should we hit the road?
Yeah, man, let's load it. Do you need any drinks or anything while we're at the gas station?
Nope. I loaded up the trunk. I got 6 cargo. I don't know. I got the boxes. We got boxes in the trunk. They don't have anything. Man. They don't have a whole lot of weight in them, but that's okay. Driving light today.
Sweet. All right, man. We're gonna head out this way. Go to the right, and do that.
Right.
So the map that shows up is not super great on this map.
Okay.
So we're kind of going off my memory.
I love it. I'm not going to use the map at all.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't do much anyways. Like once we're like sometimes there's trails, sometimes there's not.
So what kind of motor do you have in that thing?
What kind of motor?
Yeah.
Oh, the 4.5 liter V8, but it's
Okay.
got a race oil pan. Like that's it.
Okay.
I've already stalled. No, dude. So I'm not
Stall
used
counter.
to using a manual transmission, right?
Yeah.
What size tires do you have on that? You said 40s?
Yeah, they're 40s. Yep.
Okay.
I wanted to go
Perfect.
bigger, but these look so good. I had to go with them.
Dude, I only have 37s because I
wow.
felt limited by the wheel wells.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty lucky to get 40s on this. All right, we'll put it in 4-wheel drive. Oh, okay, we'll put it in low.
Yeah, I'm already in low, dude. It's gonna be one of those days.
I'm excited. Nice little
Me
whoops
too,
here.
bro.
A little story on SlopGear. It really meant a lot to me because it. So let's see. I guess it was a few years ago. Oh man, I guess it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I bought one of my dream cars. It was a Nissan 350Z. Always wanted it as a little kid. Grew up, realized they weren't all what I thought they were, kind of thing. But I still wanted one anyways. And I got this absolutely wrecked one. It drove, but it didn't drive long. It had a cracked radiator. But the gear shift in it, oh my gosh. I didn't know what gear I was the whole time because it was so sloppy. And so when you say slop gear, all I can think about is my Z now. Or, I used to have the Z. I actually ended up selling it. But, yeah, it's slop gear is pretty funny.
Dude, those are fun cars. I had one too. I think mine was
Did you?
an 03. Yeah, I bought it before there was drift tax on 350Zs.
Oh, wow.
I got it with 99,000 miles for $4,000.
Oh, nice. That is a
this way.
steal.
Dude, but I bought it in the hood
Yep.
in Albuquerque. It had a bullet hole in the hood. Like,
that's so funny.
I was like, what's up with this, dude? And he was like, I don't know, dude. I came out in the morning and there was just a bullet hole in it. Everything works fine, though. And I was like, okay, all right, dude.
my Z literally was from the hood as well. The guy came up with him and his brother and a couple guns kind of thing. And, of course, I felt very inclined to buy it at that point. But I bought mine for $1,500. It was it was a former street takeover car, so it had been absolutely abused. And the wheel had fallen off, so it was all the car was all messed up. But I did a little bit of work to it, got it running fine, and then sold it to my buddy so I could have some money. Actually, it was part of the liquidation to get the overhaul stuff working and going full time on all that stuff.
Yeah, dude. So what has been like the biggest change for you going full time? Because that's a major leap going from what'd you do before? Were you an accountant?
Yeah, so I
Is
did
that what
accounting beforehand. And not like your typical tax accounting. It was just project accounting. So really anybody can do it. My family is, they're all accountants, and I went to college and I did not want to do accounting at all. Ended up getting a degree in finance, in business finance, and it's so easy to fall into the accounting world when you have a finance degree. And so I ended up getting my first job as an accounting deal and stayed there for a while. So I did accounting, but the biggest change I think has been like I don't have a boss. I kind of do whatever I want,
Yeah.
which is super cool.
Nice.
But I used to think I go back and forth on, am I lazy or am I a workaholic? And this has shown me I'm purely a workaholic. If I'm passionate about something, I will sit at my computer for hours and hours and hours and get it done. And I was doing that for the old company, but it wasn't being rewarded the same, right? And so doing it now for myself is just the hardest part is managing my time because no one's managing it for me. And left to my own devices, I will sit here and work or play. Like it's just I get caught up in whatever I'm doing.
dude, that was another thing I wanted to ask. Like, what's the work life balance? Because like you work on a game, and like I know it's different for you because it's not just like all fun and games, haha. But I mean, it's like, what's that like?
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
hold on, let me get some pictures real quick.
yeah. That's why I stopped here, dude. I was like, this is a good spot.
This is a good spot. I think what picture Shift Tab's gonna want. I'm just flying around. Maybe you can take it from the recording. He'll probably make his own, to be honest. But so, what's the work-life balance like? Well, first, do you want to hit the trail again before I start rambling, or?
Yeah, dude. I just wanted to get out and enjoy the view real quick.
Okay.
But let's do it.
So work-life balance, it's really non-existent. That's what I finally concluded. I was big on work-life balance back when work was kind of taking over my life with how much work they wanted me to do. But now it's, like I said, I set my own schedule. I set my own thing. Problem is I can't stick to any schedule I set, and so setting a schedule is kind of pointless. It's basically, I work during the day as much as I can. But oftentimes I'll pick up my son from school or drop him off, or really I do both. And so when he's here, it's kind of hard to work. I can't work on the same stuff. I can't just go record a video, or I can't go. I can get on calls, but have to be careful on who the calls are with. So that way, there's no disruptions in the background and stuff. And so, and then also it's just I'm one that really needs to focus on when I'm working. I was telling Tristan, I really don't listen to music much or anything when I'm working. I'm just kind of sitting here in silence and just doing the thing. This is a nice view too. But so what happens is I work some, and then I get kind of thrown off work, and I either go back to working because I feel bad, like I feel like I didn't get much done, or I am so excited I can't sleep and I just keep working. Whatever project I'm working on, I'm so excited and passionate about it, I just kind of end up staying up all night. And then I get into this awkward stage of like, okay, I'm super tired, but now I got to drive my son to school again. Let me just stay up so that way I can make sure I'm up and get him to school. So then I get him to school, come back, and either by then I'm re-woken up, so then I just stay up longer or I go to sleep. It's just the sleep schedule is all over the place. But it's so fun just to be able to create all these things. And I'd rather have sleepless nights because I'm excited to work versus have sleepless nights because I'm stressed about someone else's work, really. So,
dude, your what is your little tag on Discord say? Like, life's too short, be happy, or something like that?
Something
like
like that. I don't remember. It's something along the lines of
life's too short, do what you love. Are you doing what you love? Because it sure does sound like it.
I really am. And it's funny.
Dude.
So, I got married to Mrs. Raceless, I guess last year actually, and last April, yeah. And when we first met, I got a little jealous because I asked her, well, okay, what do you do for work, kind of thing, and she said she had her dream job. And I was like, whoa, nobody has their dream job. I've never met someone with their dream job. And she loves plants. She's big into plants. And just to see how happy she always is. Oh, that's sketchy. Oh. It really made me... of course, I was happy for her, but kind of made me think, man, that'd be cool to have a job you're excited to wake up for. And with my previous job, every time I woke up, I just was not in the mood to go to work. I didn't enjoy waking up, right? The only time I felt like I really enjoyed was my free time, which was so limited because I was spending so much time at work, just barely scraping by with making a living. I got paid well, but I lived in a place that demanded high prices and stuff. I mean, COVID hit and everything went up, and it kind of got to the point where I'm giving my life away to this job, and I can't even get out of this 2-bedroom apartment kind of thing. And so I kind of. I got really depressed. I think I've been depressed for a long time, if I'm honest. But just as men sometimes do, you just kind of suck it up and keep going for as long as it takes. And so, that being said, she was the one that actually convinced me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. it was actually soon after we got married. She said, "You know what? We need to find what you're passionate about, like find you a dream job kind of thing." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't even know the first step to do that. I don't know what I want to do. I really like trucking. I've never done trucking, but I like trucks, and I think that'd be fun. But then you're away from your family so much, so maybe some other driving job and all this stuff." But ultimately, it came down to, well, let me just explore my passions. Oh, I gotta lock the front diffs for this one.
Yeah, definitely. I've been locked in. It's lock-in time.
This thing's crawling so good,
Dude,
but
it's doing great.
I love this thing. And so where was I? I forgot what I was saying.
You were thinking about
Oh
trucking or
yeah.
doing something with driving.
Well, she said just go do something you're passionate about. I was like, well, I like to play a lot of video games, so I started playing more video games, which seemed like a complete kind of, what do you call it? Oxymoron or whatever. That
Right.
let me just play some games. And it was really hard for me to actually do that because I felt really lazy. Again, I always struggled with like, am I being lazy? Am I working enough? This isn't, I was told all my life that video games are a waste of time, things like that. And so it's definitely, video games was always that sore subject that I didn't like to tell people I did a lot. I was kind of a closet gamer, but if you knew me personally, you knew I loved a game, and I was gaming quite a bit, any free moment, right? Well, during all this, I had just released the RLS Career Overhaul Mod version like 1.0, and I just made some small changes. Oh, he's sending it.
Dude, the stall counter is gonna go up
Yeah, I bet.
exponentially through this little section.
I'm gonna let you get through that section before I get any closer. You might need some help. Oh,
And resets are fine, okay, if you need to, but I'm gonna try and keep it in one piece for as long as I can and not do resets.
oh,
But
this looks challenging.
There is no penalty.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
so just
I might need one after this. I don't know how you got through this. I see why you power out.
yeah, kind of. I hugged the left side. Yeah, there you go. And then I ended up scraping my roof pretty good too.
Jeez. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, this is a story stopper. This makes you really think. All right, I was getting aggressive there. Let me. Oh, come on, independent suspension. Hold your line. That's what I'm most nervous about.
Sometimes that solid axle is a little helpful.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get through this. We're just gonna change our angle of approach here. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Nice.
I got a little scared. Kind of had to floor it out.
Oh, you're not out of it yet, brother.
My alignment sure is. And the thing is wide. Here we go. Oh, about to lose the grill. Oh, definitely lost the window.
There you go. Nice.
I don't know what's coming up next because it's looking behind me. All right, there we go. There we go. Jeez, that was a tough one. Oh man, that's like you need a roll cage for that. You need a tube chassis. Oh, the alignment's so off. We're gonna keep going with it though.
All right, dude. Don't feel bad, because I'm probably gonna have to hit one here pretty soon.
Yeah, so I was really depressed, and at the time I had the career overhaul, released, and at the time Tristan had reached out for the first time and mentioned, hey, I could help if you want, kind of thing, or really it was more like, hey, I came up with this fix. Do you want it? Or do you want to see if it works? And from there we just started chatting and hit it off immediately. But I kind of thought, you know what? I really love BeamNG. It's that one game I always go back to. It's for years I've always come back and played it. Other games, you kind of when you start a game, you're gonna fizzle out of it. Like every game has an expiration date, and this game just never did for me. And so I thought, this would be a really good game to really invest time in. Oh man, I'm really hung up here. So let's think about this again
I
before
think
we.
I went more to the left on that one.
Yeah.
Because that rock at the top is really a cliffhanger.
All right, we're gonna stay in it. Stay in it. All right, we might have to use a first reset here in a little bit.
I keep stalling.
This radiator is, I tried upgrading it, but oh.
Oh.
All right, let's hold on here.
Slipperino.
Before we try to get out
Oh,
of this
dude,
ourselves.
I totally forget about the node grabber so much. Just I'm so accustomed to the
Oh gosh.
the not beefy node grabber that we have in career mode, which I
Yep.
like.
Yeah,
But I just totally forget about it.
It's better than nothing, but yeah, when you play career mode, you forget there's so many free roam controls. There we go. It's crazy. My car got really shiny and repaired through that. But so yeah, to wrap up that story. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
no, finish it. Yeah.
So it was a few months in of like just kind of no-lifing the mod and not playing any other video games that I realized this is what I'm really passionate about. This is what every day I was excited to come home to go work on the mod. It was the planning the whole week or what made me excited for the whole week was planning what I was going to do to the mod. And then the YouTube stuff started taking off, and I started really enjoying making videos, and it's just this whole world was opening up. And throughout the year, it kind of finally got to a point where work was wanting more of me because they're honestly being poorly managed, and we were understaffed for years, and now they were finally like, hey, we need even more from you because we're even less understaffed, but that's because you don't take care of your staff. And so I was really unhappy about that, and and then some other corporate politics stuff started happening, which was really frustrating, and I got kind of caught up in a little bit of it, and kind of knew my career was going to come out a little bit damaged from this one. And I could come back from it, but it was going to require a lot of sucking up and a lot of nice save, a lot of corporate politicking that I hate to do. And so I at that point too, there's a little bit of YouTube ad money coming in, and oh, that's so scary. Oh, that's so scary. Whoa, man.
Did you make it?
Yeah.
Good job. I didn't turn the camera around fast enough. I was trying to get all the way.
The back wheels are in the air the whole way down. It's just managing brake pressure.
That's nollie central, dude. Like, I don't think you can get through there, like, keeping your butt down.
Well, I put tire ballast on the front because I finally figured out, I think it's to keep the front weighed down. So that way you're like, there's extra weight on your, I think it's kind of like how in RC crawling, they put like brass stuff or heavy metals in the axles, so that way it has a lower center of gravity. But I only did it in the front because I thought we'll never go downhill. Man,
oh, dude.
But yeah. So then towards the end of the year, it's kind of like I need to make a decision. I need to either choose this mod or choose my job. And we spent the whole year working towards finding my passion and finding a better job and something I'd be more enjoyable with. And it was a no-brainer, but it was really a tough call to be like, all right, we're gonna leave all the creature comforts that I've had for 6+ years and go into this unknown world and go all in it. And before we really made that decision, it was my wife that was like, I told her the situation of like, hey, I kind of have to pick one or the other, and it's making me really it's really hard to make this decision, and it's making me really depressed because it's in my head. I knew the option was there was no quitting the job. Quitting the job was never thought to be an option. And she was just like, "Why don't you just quit your job?" And I was like, I shared it in the Italy trailer. It literally kind of how the conversation went. She was like, "What do you mean I can't just quit my job?" And she said, "Why not?" And then she said, "Life's too short to not do what you love." And I was like,
"No,
you're not wrong.
Dude.
You're not wrong." Yeah. So
shout out Mrs. Raceless, dude. Like that's
she's the absolute best.
I love that story, dude. That's so cool.
I know I'm talking a lot.
How'd you guys meet?
So we met. How did we? So she was actually driving through the state on this like cross country trip, or per se. Really, she borrowed her brother's car or something, or her brother gave her a car, so she like took it across country, and we met at this little, like, I guess this little event where there's a few people getting together, and we kind of just, I don't want to say we instantly hit it off, but we kind of did. I gave her a ride back to her hotel because she didn't bring her car with her, and she invited me out to lunch the next day. And I was like, okay.
Oh.
And that's where the things kind of hit off. Man, your truck is in pieces.
Sorry. I know, dude. Like when I'm going straight, my steering wheel is 180 degrees to the left. It's upside down.
I can't say anything I repaired once. But yeah, we let me think back. So we went on that kind of, we didn't really call it a date. We weren't really sure if it was a date. It definitely was a date, but it was kind of like, we didn't really know it was a date kind of thing. And at the time, she lived in Florida, so she lived in a whole other state kind of thing. And so, but I don't know, just that first experience with her, that first day or so, she just is a different person. She just is one of those, for lack of a better word, just a beautiful person. You know what I mean?
Aww.
Just pure soul, just super nice. Obviously attractive. That's a big component, but like just really just she's always going out her way to do nice things, kind of thing. You can see it in her eyes. You know, you can meet some people. You look in their eyes, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person has like the best wishes for me and for life and everything. And so I kind of got a little hooked on her. I was like, man, I gotta like get to know her more, because a little more backstory. I was recently divorced, probably by, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, something like that, and very much against like getting in another relationship. Not worth the risk, not worth the trouble, I was kind of closed that door kind of thing. And man, when I met her, she just blew that door right open. And
oh, dude, that's cool. You never know when it's gonna happen.
There's so many things I say.
You guys like?
Go ahead.
How long did you guys like date before you got married? It sounds like it was quick.
It was pretty quick. I think we dated for like 2 years, 2.5 years maybe.
Okay.
So yeah, it was we officially dated for like a year, but we talked like every day for a year before that, kind of thing. It was kind of one of those like, well, you know, her being out of state and knowing I couldn't move states, and again, she had her dream job. You know, telling her hey, can you give up your dream job and come live in Georgia and marry me is kind of a lot to ask.
Yeah, definitely.
Then at some point she made that decision in her head. I was like, you know what, this I guess this was worth it. So we started dating, and then all that came to be. And now she likes her job here even more than there. So,
dude, everything works out. Oh,
yep.
Stalled. Sorry.
You're good. I'm gonna wait till I don't want my front end to dip in yet.
Okay, I'm clear.
Nice.
So when it comes to what made you want to make RLS? Like, were you just like, this career mode needs more, I'm gonna do it myself, or like, is that?
Yeah. So
how did that come to be?
For a while, you know, like I said, I played BeamNG for a while. I go back all the way to the Rigs of Rods days. I was big into that game. I started getting into modding a little bit right before college, and then went to college and, you know, fell out of the game. But I've always wanted to see a career mode in BeamNG. Like ever since BeamNG first launched, like, oh, this career mode's gonna be sick. I hope they make one. And then there were some teasers. They would start one, and then it kind of got canceled. And then more teasers. They'd start one again. All this stuff, and eventually I started playing one of the early access versions, and it was super enjoyable. But problem is the enjoyability kind of died out really quick. For me, at least. Back then, there was no way to make recurring money. It was purely through missions, so it's pretty easy to see that, hey, there's only a set amount of money you can make in this game until all the income is cut by, you know, down to 10%, and at that point, you know, you're kind of done with building cars and making money. So I wanted to add some more legs to the career mode. And, oh, that looks like a deep water crossing. All right, here
You're
we
on
go.
40s, brother. You should be good.
Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad. Cools down the engine a little bit too. Man, if I was on anything less though,
Yeah, dude. These 37s get a little dicey, but like they're making do.
Yep. And so yeah, I was playing the career mode, and I just really there's so much potential behind it, and I knew they were going to be working on it. I'm not dumb. They're definitely not done at this point, and so I thought, well, let me just see if I can make some changes and start out small. Like I want more garage space, and then I thought, I want to add missions, and things kind of spiraled from there. And yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I knew I wanted to see the career mode finished earlier, and I kind of realized, you know what? If no one else is doing it, I need to do it. And I did it originally for myself, and then I remember again I was talking to Mistress Raceless at the time, and she was like, "Are you gonna release it?" I was like, "No, probably not." Like, I guess I was a lot more shy online, back then, and I didn't think to really release it. I thought it was just my own private thing. And she's like, "Well, other people might enjoy it as much as you do." I was like, "Yeah, that's a good point." Like, this is a game where we all kind of think pretty similarly. We all come from, have similar mindset of if we enjoy this game, we're probably going to enjoy this mod, I guess, because, we're already enjoying the game together. And so I released it, and it started to pick up, steam really quick, and people started enjoying it. And if it wasn't for how nice the community was from the beginning, I probably want to keep doing it because, now that it's a little bit bigger, you get more characters that I call them characters. You get more people that are not always as nice, or maybe a little more entitled, and they want certain things, and there's a little bit more heat with the cooking, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
back then,
Dude,
it was
you
just
deal
purely.
with all that stuff so well.
I appreciate it.
By the way, like you're very patient and nice to folks who are. I'm like, dude, I wouldn't be so nice. So you're very good at that.
I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you never know what kind of background people are coming from, the life they live, the things that happen to them. Maybe they have some disabilities. I have to tell myself that sometimes. But you can't assume unless you know. And if you did know, you probably wouldn't treat them the same as you want to when you assumed. So I try to go from that angle of, I don't know everything, so let me just be plain in what they want. This I can either say yes or no, and maybe give them a reason why. And but yeah, it can be a little taxing this at times. The 035 release was a real killer for us, but we got it done.
Yeah,
it's working again.
You got and you got it out quick too. Like a lot of people don't understand the brevity of like what it takes to get. And like even me, like I don't. I'm just like, dude, I'm just gonna be patient. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be happy with what we get. I'm going to understand that there's bugs. And like, I know you guys are, okay. I mean, walk a tightrope here.
It's one thing. One thing I wish I could tell people to think about is, we get a lot of like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe the crazy stuff you've added and stuff. And, I sing, oh, look at these logs. Oh boy.
Tightrope.
Oh, jeez. Let me try to tell a story while I do this. They tell. I tell. I tell people Tristan's an amazing programmer. I think most people understand that. On one hand, they praise him and us on what we do, but then when it's not working timely, they'll also be quick to say, why can't you get it done faster or better? And it's like, well, you said there's miracles being done before. You got to believe these take time, kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, 35 was a rough update. The best way I could probably try to explain it is, so some people will say, oh, nice little mud bog. Nice. Some people say, make the programming standalone, make things standalone, and then you don't have to update it. But it's not quite true, because a lot of the stuff we've added is standalone. But the problem is it hooks into foundations that are always changing. They're completely developing. They're still developing the career mode. It's not just they're changing a few things here, but they're rewriting code that our code needs to work, kind of thing. And if we made it fully standalone and didn't build off theirs, the problem we'd run into then is we'd have our own version of the career, and it wouldn't include their latest features. It wouldn't be as close to it is as their vision, right? The idea for this is it to be kind of career plus. It's career, but plus a bunch of stuff. It's not its own role-playing career experience. And so it's the double-edged sword of building on a foundation that's still being developed.
I kind of forgot where to go.
You're good.
Dude, there's so many trails on this map. We're like back where we were. Okay, cool. We looped around.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I think there's different stuff though, like right around here.
Okay. Yeah, so 35, they released a lot of new improvements and fundamental changes. So you notice the parts inventory has changed in vanilla, right? That like changes a lot of things on our end. A lot of things had to get essentially not just rewritten, but refigured out. It's always a learning experience as we're going into this. We're finding out what we can do and what we can't do. And yeah, it's a really fun experience. It's always dynamic. It's always changing. We're always learning, but that means we also never know how long something's going to take, kind of thing. So sometimes you're going to go in and be like, all right, it's simple little change, and you realize, wait, it stopped working because this huge piece changed, and we need that piece, but we can't have that piece anymore. So we got to figure out a new way to make our piece work again, and then times that by all the new features that we've added, which is ever growing. And so it's tough. I totally understand why the devs aren't doing some of these big features yet, because it's just they'd have to rewrite it every update, and the entire development would slow down. So yeah, that's kind of what happens every quarter of the year.
So when you guys are working on the game, you interested, how do you divvy up like who does what? Because I know he's the Lua Lord.
Yeah.
So is he like really like in there hammering on the code? I know you like to do more like the map changes and stuff like that, it seems.
Yeah, so we'll talk. We used to talk more often. Now we kind of don't have to talk very often, but we kind of first work plan what are some features we want to see, kind of thing. I'd like to think we talk maybe like once a week about, hey, what are we going to add? The last month or so has been different just because it's been all hands on deck and just getting things working again. But about once a week, we'll say, what do we want to add this week? And depending on that, it kind of determines who needs to do what. So he obviously does heavy on the programming. I really haven't touched programming in a while because he's there to do it. He reads Lua like we read English, kind of thing.
Oh.
And I do more JSON work, which he can do as well. I mean, that's even more childish for him, even more low level for him. And then I do a lot of the map stuff, but I mean, he can do that stuff too. So it's kind of, it's like, all right, you're going to be programming this feature in. I will add, I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's talk about car meets, because that's probably a good example. So
Yeah.
we had this idea to do car meet stuff. We had a whole, all these things we want to add. Unfortunately, not a lot of them got added that we wanted to see, and we'll probably see some more updates to the car meet stuff soon. But it, he ended up actually programming it all pretty quickly before anything else got started. So after that, he was still touching up some stuff. So I was like, okay, let me go in. He showed me the tools he created to make the car meets, which we'll talk about probably next month. And I just went in and made all the car meets in the map kind of thing, which didn't take long at all either. So that's like a good small case study where he developed something and now there's a need for some map work. So let me go in there and do that. Doesn't mean I guess what I'm trying to say is we kind of just go with whatever needs to be done, whatever the idea is. I'll be doing a lot of, so I've been doing most of the delivery balancing stuff, which has been pretty rocky from a development standpoint. Well, what happened is last update, I didn't realize it was broken. I didn't realize what we pushed was completely broken. And so it led to some really lucrative deals, but they only came once in a while. And through my testing, it just never came up. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, it's still working fine. I see a couple people are getting some wild stuff, but I don't see how that's happening because I'm getting normal stuff. And so, yeah, we kind of just divvy up that kind of stuff. I don't know if that answers the question super well, but we just kind of work. It's kind of weird. We kind of it's almost like we don't need to know what each other is doing. if I'm making a big map change, I'll let them know, like, hey, making a big map change, because you can only have one person working the map at a time, and the way we push our code to each other, it can mess things up if we both made map changes at the same time. And so, yeah, it works really well.
And if you had to explain what you meant by JSON work to somebody who's 5 and has no idea what that means, what would you say? Like me, that's really what I'm asking for, because I know I see a JSON file and I'm like, oh, what's up, JSON? But I don't know what that means.
Sure. So understand, if there's any real programmers listening, I'm not a programmer by any means, especially by trade. Tristan is, and so
that's why I give you the out. Explain it like to a 5-year-old.
Yeah. So we're gonna pretend like a 5-year-old doesn't understand programming, because I don't really either. So JSON is basically a really simple it's almost more let's call it a table of values. It's what the Lua is going to go read and fetch. So the Lua says, take information A with information B and do some magic, and then do this, and then get this output and do that. And then JSON is just those A's and B's. So you're just changing, like, dealership filtering is a good example. So the dealership, all the information's in a JSON, and it kind of helps the Lua know what cars to pull, and so you can manipulate that file. It's written different when you read it. It's JSON is written in more plain English, whereas Lua is like using shortened words and everything, right? What real programming looks like.
So on that note, if you were to give advice to somebody who like wanted to start fiddling with modding and stuff, would you say JSON is the way to go, or like what advice would you give? Like, where should you start? Yeah,
so that's a good question. If you kind of
use BeamNG, like not big picture, just like what you know.
If you don't know anything about programming, definitely start with JSON, maybe even JBeam stuff. Those JSON and JBeam files. Lua is a little more in depth, but you also, I mean, sometimes honestly, I started in Lua. There was, and it could have been because of the way the code was written and stuff, and again, it's being in development, but there's some, we'll call it hard-coded or just written out things. So, somewhere in a Lua file, there is a line of code that says something along the lines of garage slot value equals 5. And so I was like, well, let me change that to 20 and see what happens. And then, lo and behold, now I have 20 slots. But then sometimes the Lua says something that doesn't make any sense, and really what it is it's referencing a JSON file somewhere that has those values. And so if someone wanted to get into modding, they want to make some tweaks, definitely the first step is just jump in, like just tear stuff up, do what you want. But the biggest piece of advice I'd probably say is don't mess with your core root file of the game. Anything you adjust needs to be in essentially the mods folder, or right outside the mods folder, in that levels folder or that gameplay folder. Think of that area as a whole nother game directory, and the game first checks that first. So the first place the game goes is it says, well, actually, let me rephrase that. It starts obviously with the core game, but then it says, hey, let's go see if the player has any other mods in, right? So then it goes to the mods folder, and oh, look, here's all these mods. And then also anything in there that say, okay, well, let's also check the levels folder. And okay, there's some edits to the levels folder that aren't in mods, but they're saved as levels, and the naming works out, so we're going to overlay that stuff on top of the mods. Same with vehicles and things like that. And like there's gameplay. So basically what you'll end up doing is you'll say, okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z. I think that's located, let's call it in the gameplay core files. You'll go in there, and what's easiest to do is copy that file, paste it into your own gameplay folder of your, not your mods folder, but like right outside your mods folder, your BeamNG 035 directory or whatever version you're on, and then tweak from there. That way you can quickly disable, enable, delete as you need. It's the biggest piece of advice I'd give is modding is all about learning. It's not about accomplishing the thing or doing the thing. Like, that is the prize at the end that makes you come back and keep going. But understand, it might take 10 hours of, slamming your head against the keyboard trying to figure out what's going on and how to get something to work. And then one day it will work, but it's all about that learning growth, that curve, that learning curve.
Yeah. Dude, My first attempt at so-called modding, I didn't want a garage door in this place, and I went in and I just pulled up World Editor, and I was like,
Yeah.
what if I just remove this texture?
Yep.
And I removed textures from like the garage doors, from like half the roof shingles, from dude,
Yep.
so many things. I was like, I broke it, and then I just like I ended up just having to reinstall the game. Get it
The
back. Like I was like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do this.
I would say, well, my wife always says the road to I don't know if botany is the word, or plant stuff. The road to a
Yeah,
plant career is paved with dead plants, and it's the same with modding. The road to modding is paved with absolutely broken mods and failed attempts. But every once in a while you get lucky and something starts working right, and then you learn, kind of thing. It's hard because you might be like, I want to see a new car in the game. It's like, okay, you could do that, but that's going to be a lot of learning curve. You know, maybe we start something small, like I want to put a new hood in the game, or I want to put a new engine in, or I want this engine to be a little different. And you start making those tweaks. And as you do that, you'll learn, oh, okay, so the engines are in JBeam files, and they look like this, and this is what their general setup is, and I know I can tweak this stuff, and maybe I can tweak that stuff. And oh, here's the flex bodies. Now I can change the look, kind of thing. It starts to spiral and get quite addictive for me. Oh, I hit that rock hard.
I love that, dude. Okay, we've been talking a lot of Beam stuff. Let's I'm gonna bring it back to you a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, watch out! I'm sliding back.
That's all right. I'll stop you.
All right, thanks. Appreciate you being my blue block rock right there.
There it is.
So like, who were you like in high school? Like, who'd you hang out with?
That's a good question.
Tell us about medium Raceless.
Sure. So, high school. Let me give you the run up into high school. In 8th grade, I had moved states, and it's the first time I ever really moved in my life. Not in my life, but in my grade school years. So I had my circle of friends. We've been friends for 5 or 6 years, and as I don't know how old you are, like a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old, that's a half your life. We're knowing these group of kids, and when that was I gotta hit this rock hard. Hold on. We're going up and over. That was not the play.
Oh.
That was not the play. Reverse out. Oh gosh. And so I had moved for the first time, and in 8th grade, and it really changed who I was fundamentally, I think. And I think it was for the best. I got some radiator damage.
I think that's a tree stump.
I was hoping the tree stump didn't exist. But I'm thinking it does now.
It's imagination land.
Yeah.
It's not really there.
Oh,
it's just your fears.
All right, let's settle down. Radiator is leaking. If we can get through this, we can repair. There it is. There it is. Up and over. Come on. I need all the power,
side
please.
Question: have you ever had to pee in a radiator, yours or your friends, to get home?
No, I never. I think I always got home. You know, boiling over or not. Did it work?
Not mine. It worked.
Nice. All right, piston rings are getting damaged. We're gonna take another reset here. We abused it pretty bad. There we go.
My truck's beat up, dude. I'm surprised it's still chugging along.
Tempted to try the exact same maneuver. Man, it's like this rock is super slippery. Oh, jeez. Come on. Now we're hung up on this rock. Our wheel... What is going on? Are we stuck in that rock? Oh, my goodness. Justin, we might have an issue here.
Come spot you.
I'm tempted just to try the tree line. Oh. Alright, here we go. Lined up perfectly. I will say I'm a bit of a perfectionist where I'm like, alright, I have a goal of never resetting. This will be easy. Or not, maybe if it won't be easy, we're going to do it. There we go. Why can't we do that the first time?
You didn't even need my spot.
You need the spot. No, we're good. But anyway, so I moved like a year before high school. And, lost all my friends. It's super hard. And I kind of realized I've always been a really self-aware person. And I kind of put that into overdrive. I'm in a new environment. I don't know anybody. This is a whole new state. This is a whole new area. This is whole new weather. Like everything's new. Let me go into like shut down and watch kind of thing. And so I was super, what do you call it? Aware, and I just watched a lot of kids. I kind of like, I don't need a lot of friends. This is, getting with the wrong crowd, and that kind of messes things up for your future kind of thing. So let me not do that. Let me just watch. And, there was I witnessed the cool kids. I witnessed the bullies. I witnessed the jocks. I witnessed the nerds. I kind of saw them all, and I thought, well, I don't want to be in with the cool kids per se, because that could be kind of dangerous. Some of my old friend group were kind of turning into that, and I also probably ran with the wrong kids in my previous state. We didn't do anything too bad, but they were starting to do some pretty bad stuff, and I didn't want to get involved with that stuff again, or get close to involved with that stuff again. So I tried to make friends with the nerds. I was like, you know what? Let me just be friends with the nerds. Like you always hear they don't have friends. They struggle with friends. They struggle getting bullied and stuff. Let me be friends with them. And the funniest thing happened. They didn't want to be my friend. Like they didn't. I think, and it's kind of sad, but it makes sense. I think they were so bullied and
cautious.
They're super cautious. They didn't trust anything. They didn't trust me as being like I'm just trying to be nice, and they're like, nah. They started bullying me, and I was like, okay, this isn't gonna happen. never mind. Like I tried. I would do this for you, but so ultimately, I just kind of was like, you know what? I'll just be a lone wolf kind of thing, and it didn't take long to develop a couple really close core friends that are just good people. And so I guess you could say, I'd like to say we were that middle group. I was with that middle crowd per se. But the strategy all through that and all through high school was kind of don't talk unless spoken to. And so that kind of did a couple things. One, I was pretty quiet most of the day, unless it was like lunchtime. I was able to sit with my friends, or it was, or I happened to have a friend in that class. I didn't talk at all. And I think it went pretty good. I mean, I didn't get bullied really. I didn't. I'd get home and my jaw would hurt from not talking all day. But I was definitely very introverted, but I was happy introverted. And also, to avoid the real bullies and the real hardcore kids, I was like, let me just also kind of develop this kind of stone cold face, just this blank face. And so it was funny. Towards the end of high school, I was there was this one kid that was just kind of like the class clown. Like you didn't want to really cross paths with. You didn't want to get on his joke side per se. He was kind of he's a jerk to say the least. But he was doing something to some kid, and somebody said, "Oh, do it to Raceless." I guess they obviously didn't call me Raceless, but do it to that kid. And he was like, "No way, that guy's scary." And I'm like, "What?" So it turns out everyone was just scared because I had this like really serious face because it was more of a protection of like don't bother me kind of thing, but it worked too well. I was never angry. I never really had a whole aggressive side to me, but it was pretty funny. See, I was a quiet kid. That was me in high school.
Dude, I mean, it sounds like it worked out. If the bullies are like don't want to mess with you, and
yeah.
You said you were a happy introvert, dude. I think that's a lovely way to live, dude. You're keeping your mouth shut and not making a fool of yourself.
Exactly. Most introverts are like they feel bad for being introverted, but no, just accept it. Just accept it, and you'll live such a happier life. You got this, by the way.
Yeah. I think you have a little more faith in me than I do. Let's just crawl on the rocks.
There you go. Looks kind of slippery.
There we go.
Nice.
Where other folks might know this, but I don't. Where did the name come from, Raceless?
So, that could kind of tie into the high school stuff too. But long story short, hold on. Wait for it. Oh no, don't get kicked off. Oh man, I wanted to attempt this. So, hold on, we're gonna redo this. There we go. I love the hard question right before the hard obstacle. That's fun. No, we're just gonna go left or right. I mean, and then eventually come back left. Hold on. We got this. I'm really just keeping everyone on suspense here. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I got this anymore.
Oh. Nice.
All right. Don't overcorrect. There we go. All right, that engine's getting hot again. This radiator isn't quite keeping up. We don't have like bottom end torque. There we go.
No, and I'm in the way.
So.
Oh.
You start rolling back a lot.
I punched in. My bad.
So where does the name Raceless come from? So, long story short, the way I look, I don't look like no one's ever guessed my race before. And so, give you an example. I was playing football with a bunch of kids, a bunch of buddies in one of the neighborhoods. And again, I'm not the type to get aggressive. But for some reason, I guess the heat got to me. This was like one of the few occasions I was like, you know what? We're playing tackle. We had like a college football player with us, which no one wanted this kid's brother to play. But no one wants the college athlete to play tackle football with us. But here we are. And I was getting mad. I was getting frustrated. But you know what I did is I saw how he was breaking through tackles and just the aggression he had in his face, right? So you know what? Let me put that on. Let me try that. And so I was just sick of it. So I got the ball and I started running with it. And I probably looked so angry. I looked so fierce. Everyone was they just walked out. They just scooted out of the way. And it was one of my buddies was at the very end. And he just dodged out. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like what?" Like everyone knew. Like I was kind of surprised, and everyone was like, "Why didn't you tackle him?" You're making fun of the last guy, and he said, "I'm not going to tackle some angry Samoan," and we've been friends for years, absolute years. And I looked at him, I was like, "I'm not Samoan." He's like, "What?" And so no one's ever guessed my race. No one ever really can assume my race, and so that's where it kind of started with. It's kind of like if you didn't have a race, if race wasn't a thing, it'd be raceless, and so that became my name. There's only one person that actually ever guessed my race, and it was the weirdest thing. I was at a truck stop in South Carolina, and we were at McDonald's. I was with my grandma. She had just gone to the bathroom, so it was just me as like a, I don't know, 10 or 12-year-old or something like that. And I'm just standing in line, and I just feel someone put their hand on my head from behind. And it's one of those things like, all right, let me not react quickly. Let me just. I'm kind of slow to react, not because I'm slow, but just because I want some more information before I make my move, kind of thing, right? And so I let it happen for a second, and then I turned around, and it's just this lady. And she's like, "Are you this race?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And she was talking about my hair. It's like, "How'd you get your hair like that?" And it was like, "Well, it always been this way." And it turned out her son was also that race and had always wanted hair like mine, and that's kind of why she did that. But then I was just kind of like, wow, this is the first person that ever got it right, and since has ever gotten it right. This is a cliff. What is?
Yeah. If you cut,
I mean, I know
left,
my line.
I mean, you saw how graceful I was down there.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna send it. I just don't have the power. I really want to send this one.
You get.
Here we go. Oh, almost easy. All
Dude,
right.
All four, brother.
she thudded though. That's instant radiator damage.
Dude, so I always thought it had to do with car stuff.
And most people do because I'm big into racing games and stuff. It has nothing to do with cars. It's in fact it doesn't. It's opposite. Like I love racing. Like racing, we should do more racing kind of thing. And so that's where it comes from.
Dude, I love this, dude. This is exactly what the goal of this whole
Yep,
thing. Like,
yep.
get to know you, dude. Like, that's sick. So you're a dad. You
I
have
am.
little Raceless.
Yep.
Is he just stoked? Like, my dad works on video games, and like,
Yeah, he doesn't
I'm
quite
sure you're a lot
understand it.
happier in general too.
I
So I mean,
am,
I'm
and
sure
he's
there's
noticed it.
pluses.
All my family's noticed it. The first, I think it was 2 weeks after. I'm still in this like kind of fight or flight stage of I see how much money we have. I see the end of the road, so we got to make this
Yeah.
work before the end of the road comes, kind of thing. And so I went to my grandma's house. Like a couple weeks after, because you know what, I have all this free time. Like I can set my own schedule. It'd be wrong for me not to go do some more of this like family stuff, right? Try to cool off my engine in one of these puddles. And so immediately she was like, I told her like what I did, and she's like, "You look so much happier." I was like, "Oh, that's cool," but it's also kind of disturbing that everyone can notice it so quickly. Like things must have been really
Right.
bad for it to to get to where it was. But he's a lot happier because now I'm picking him up and dropping him off from school. Before it was tossing him around like a hot potato, just because so many of us were I was working, my new wife was working, my ex-wife was working, like just everyone he kind of gets tossed around and he's not how do I say this, everyone's job's time was more important than him. And I mean, it happens to all kids, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of parents go through that, or kids
I'm
go
a
through
little
that. And it wasn't, most kids, you just get through it, so it's not terrible, but it's like there has to be a better way, And so he was able to pick up on that difference of like, now I'm always around and I'm always available and I'm always wanting to do stuff, and so he's really happy. I think he more likes to gloat that his name is on the back of the cars, the cars that I have that enjoy. Like when I pick him up from school, he's like, he's always yelling back to his friends, like, look at the license plate, my name's on it, kind of thing. Because I put his name on the cars I plan to keep forever, because eventually they'll be his cars. And but yeah, so he really just likes cars a lot, and he plays the monster. Well, he plays BeamNG a lot. We call it the monster truck game in the house. Because it all started with the I always forget the name, the monster truck mod, that modding community. They were around during Rigs of Rods, Beam Monsters. There it is. It's not that hard. So he's always played the monster truck game and played it a lot, and it's definitely, he's excited that I'm adding new stuff. He doesn't understand the career stuff, but without getting too many spoilers, we are working on some vehicle mods, and he's gonna be really excited for those.
Nice. Dude, on the note of your forever cars,
Yeah.
how many cars do you have now?
At the moment, I had to think
Do you
real hard.
know?
Yeah, I do know. So listen, let me start off saying I'm not wealthy or rich. It's not hard
dude,
to.
we're all collectors of junk, brother.
Exactly.
Like, you're not. Don't.
Do you want running cars or do you want number of cars?
No, you're in a safe space, dude. I think. Okay, well, dude, I think I've ran through like over 30 cars, and I'm 35.
Exactly.
So I mean, dude, we're all.
So let me go through the list. I think I'm at like somewhere between 5 and 7, probably closer to 5, because it used to be 7, but then I got rid of stuff. So right now I have the BRZ as the daily. It's got a brand new 50,000 miles on it now after several years. It's a 2022. Really love the car. Absolute favorite car, dream car. So I have that. I have an E36, 1992 BMW E36. It super clean on the outside. Inside needs a lot of love and attention. But then I left it sitting for years, so now the outside also needs love. It's so much potential. It's the one I won't sell because it's the first motor I rebuilt and did myself, and so fell in love with that. That motor and car got me through my divorce, because man, without it would have been rough. To give you context, first off, my divorce was super amicable. Still get along with my ex really well. Like it wasn't ugly, thankfully, but it's still hard, financially and emotionally and all that stuff. So, ended up, so we had 3 cars at the time, like some was like my mom's old SUV, Honda CRV, 250,000 miles on it. Kind of gets you to point A to point B, but not super quick or well. We had what was her car, a little Lexus hatchback, and then we had the BMW, which recently blew a head gasket and cracked the head. And so obviously I won the BMW in the settlement, but it was in pieces, right? Like literally, I started taking it apart, and then the whole divorce came, and so I had to move. I think I moved 3 times with the head off and all the bolts out and everything.
Oh,
I don't think I lost any. I didn't lose any main bolts.
dude, that was my question. How'd you keep track of the bolts?
I don't.
That's like the first thing I always lose.
It wasn't well. I had one big box of everything, all garage stuff, and they were just like, eventually they settled to the bottom of that. But eventually, life stabilized a little bit, and depression came in, hot and heavy. And I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I never really was into that stuff, even as a high schooler. When I did drink a little bit, I like my mental state to be just very sober. I can't make good decisions if I don't have all my brain, kind of thing, right? So a little sensitive to that stuff from a mental state, and so I was in. I knew things were getting real dark real quick. And I totally understood why people turn to alcohol, why they turn to drugs. It makes sense. It made sense, and I didn't want to go down that path. So I needed something to kind of distract me, get me through it. Video games kind of helped, but it wasn't healthy gaming. I would say it was just distracted gaming, which still do that sometimes as needed. But anyways, I turned to the car that was sitting in my garage that was in pieces that. Was my first dream car, and I loved. And it was the first car I bought for myself. Everything else was like, oh, let me get a car, and this is one that will work. So it's like kind of one of those like, oh, I'm going to build this into something, and then maintenance comes in. And so I just got to work, and it turned into every day after getting back from the job that I hated, I'd go turn to my BMW and turn some bolts and get some work done, and it was really got me through some hard times. But so yeah, definitely have that BMW. Definitely not getting rid of it too much lore there. As we fly into the bushes here.
Bro,
hold on, let me just get out of this real quick.
I haven't been recording
this whole time.
Yeah,
it's okay. I've been recording, so I can send it to you.
Okay. I just looked over. I was like, "How long have we been going, dude? This guy probably needs to get going." Oh my god!
It's first time issues or whatever.
How embarrassing!
Speaking of embarrassing, this car is absolutely smoking. All right, I got to reset before I get up this hill.
Okay, for sure.
So BRZ BMW. I actually have a second E36 that I kind of forgot about. I kind of remembered it the other day. So so I don't have this BMW technically anymore, but my buddy has an E36, but he lived in California. And long story short, he had a fully built engine that was almost ready to start, but then everything else on his car was terrible, and he needed the cash. So I picked up his car and pulled the motor out. Basically, I'm like getting prepped for this turbo engine swap into my naturally aspirated E36. Also, mine's an automatic, so it's just an absolute like slug. It's super slow, it's not enjoyable to drive. He had a ZF transmission with it, so like about to get all these race goodies. And then, we're looking at the build, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'd really want a top mount turbo, not a bottom mount. And we're looking at things we're gonna have to do, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just get a top mount stuff. We can replumb some things. And then what destroyed my steering? Yeah, I did. And so I started looking for top mount turbos. Came home with another turbocharged BMW that had a blown up motor.
Oh my gosh.
Because he had a top mount header. Only to realize his turbo and like the turbo combination headers won't work. I'd have to use his crappy turbo that died probably. And so now I have one E36 ready for an engine swap. Still runs, but barely. And then the other one that's completely torn apart, heads off, extra head in the back seat. But looking at the first head, there's not enough bolts for this thing. So I guess the guy lost all the bolts. And so, yeah, I have 2 of those. Those are the main projects I got to work through as soon as I actually allow myself to have time. And then have a Dodge Ram 1500. It's an 03 two-wheel drive, just basic 4.5 your or 4.7, whatever it is, and just a work truck essentially.
You just got that recently, right?
Yeah, just traded a BMW for that, actually. Something about BMWs, you just start collecting all the broken ones and realizing you can't fix any of them.
You can't save them all.
No, you can't save them all. And this one actually ran fine. It just had an engine light that would not go away. It wasn't even an engine light, it was a brake light. And I'd already spent a lot of money getting new brake lines on it, so I was like, I'm done with this. So anyways, got a Dodge Ram, so that way when that motor blows, at least it'll be cheap to fix.
There you go.
And I think that's really it. Then my wife has 2 cars, a Honda Element and a Prius. So
Nice.
Prius was given to her, and we're actually going to get rid of that too because it's having issues. But is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. I had the 350Z, sold that. I had a few more BMWs, got rid of those. Kind of tried to size down quickly because I went full time, right? And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make any money for a while. And so let me sell all these toys and projects and invest in this future, go all in.
So I'm not trying to pry into the finances, but are you getting back to where you're like comfortable doing the Beam stuff?
So so obviously we budgeted what's our bare minimums, right? If we absolutely had a perfect month, nothing went wrong, we stuck to the grocery budget, we were good on utility, like, bare minimums, we are definitely making it thanks to all the supporters and stuff. I'd say Tristan and I both are. And so yeah, we met our bare minimums. I don't really know if I'm gonna ever get back to what my previous job paid me, especially after you calculate taxes and stuff. We haven't crossed the taxes bridge, and that's that's a next year problem.
Start planning quarterly. Like that's what
Exactly.
I'd suggest on that one. It makes that dent doesn't hurt as bad.
Yeah. So like right now, I'd say we're making the bare minimums, but we're not making the taxes, kind of thing. But we're really close, and everything's still growing. And
Dude, that was fast.
It was.
When I started my real life business, I've been at it for 2 years, and I'm finally at a comfortable spot. Let's go this way.
Yeah, they say a lot of businesses take, especially a bigger business, it takes 5 to 10 years to turn a profit, and we did that quick. They say YouTube channels take 2 years before they start making $1. We did that in a couple months, so it's definitely, things are happening fast, thankfully, but we're not.
Congratulations.
We're definitely not out of the woods yet. Can't let off the gas.
I mean, I think that's part of the excitement, right?
True.
You are taking such a leap, and you are really showing that you have faith in not only yourself but also Tristan, and he also has faith in you. And dude, the fact that you're happier, and a big change for me was just learning to live within my means. So like you said about minimums and stuff like that, and being happy with that. That's, needs are a funny thing because people see that as the bare minimum. And I'm just dude, if my needs are met, I'm happy, I'm living the dream, right? So
no, I definitely can't complain.
It all depends. It's perspective, right? But
and the Tristan and I always talk about the we don't really have a name for it. I'll call it the hidden reward, is that we have our own schedule. We do whatever we want when we want. Mm-hmm. There's absolutely no thinking about what I'm going to do today. I don't know. I do whatever I want. Obviously, there's some things I want to get done that will turn into some money. And luckily, I'm kind of hooked on working on all this stuff. So it really, I know whatever I'll be doing is going to be Beam related and mod related. But if someone called me and said, "Hey, I need help moving right now," easy, I can go do that. And that's something that is so rare in the world, and it is worth living at the bare minimums for as long as I have to, in order to have that. That makes me feel more rich than I ever thought I could be or would be or was in my last job. So
when I first started, I would tell people like, I am not monetarily rich, but I am time wealthy. Like I could
Exactly.
do what I want, and dude, like, yeah, you summed it up great. Like
So let me
you
ask you
can't
a
get the
question.
time back, right?
No, you
So
can't. No,
yeah, go ahead, go
that's
ahead.
where life is short. Like you don't,
Yeah, you
you,
can always make more money,
and you don't
but
know how long life's going to be. If we're honest,
yeah.
we all assume we're going to live a long life, and that's a good assumption to have. You don't want to always live it like, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow. But really, though, like I saw people at my job, they died not related to work at all, but it just oh, so and so passed away over the weekend. Did you hear the news? And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, he's gone. And a week later, someone's sitting at his desk doing his job. Like
Yep.
there's no, it's
That'll
just it's over. Like,
that's you realize like, oh, I'm just a number.
it really
Sorry.
like no, you're good. No matter how I understand business, right? I went to school for it. I understand they do what they have to do, and they do it for a reason, and it makes sense. But it's not for me. When I saw this one individual pass away, and by the end of the week, there's someone sitting at his desk. I was it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like what is like this individual had died and left a widow with 5 kids. The guy had 5 kids and a wife. Now they don't have a father. There's no, oh, we'll hang out with dad when he makes retirement, or we'll hang out with dad during the summer or over the weekend, or the time's over. They don't get to hang out with their dad anymore. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think about that anytime I'm like, oh, not now. Let me do this first. And it's important to keep that in perspective. And I remember there's another situation where our company, I won't disclose what the company was or is or anything like that, but it's a pretty big company, and they had like their whole internal website kind of thing. I think 6,000 employees, maybe more. But you'd from time to time see people post, or like one of the headline things would be so and so passed away, we always cherish his memory, blah blah blah. And we noticed this person that died in our office didn't get their name on the website or whatever. So we're like, hey, what's going on? And like, well, that's for shareholders only. It's like, oh, you are kidding me.
Wow.
So it's only when like someone's bought into the company, when they pass away, they get their name on the firm wide website. And it's just like, on one hand, that hits hard and hurts hard. But the other hand, you can kind of understand why they would do that. How many times would they have to, like, they wouldn't be able, it'd be so cluttered with everything that's happening all over the company, not just at the top level. And so obviously I agree with one more than the other, but it's still kind of, you kind of have to see both sides of the story to get the full picture. And so I can't really fault the company a whole lot. I would have done differently, but maybe something has to be done. You know what I mean? And so, long story short, yeah, even as this company, they tried hard. I will give them that. They tried hard to have a good culture and have good employees. There are some parts of the firm that were absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, mine wasn't one of those. But at the end of the day, you're still working for someone else, and that's not something I like. I'm happy serving someone, helping someone out, doing someone else's project, but it's you don't get the payment back from it. You don't get the your name on things. You don't get when it's all said and done, they're gonna move on without you, kind of thing. That's the part that kind of hurts. And so I don't know. It's really nice doing my own thing. That's working for myself. And it really the best line I heard was actually from my father-in-law. He said, it's time to invest in yourself. I thought, wow. Because here I'm investing all this time into this company, and I understand the payoff isn't, the payoff might be a comfortable retirement if I can make it there, but at the end of the day, you didn't invest in yourself. And doing this stuff, I've learned so much just using my own skills. I feel like I've really applied every skill I've learned in the past 10 years, and every ounce of wisdom to make this work, and it's been so enjoyable just to see fruit from that.
Dude, that's you're saying all the right things, dude. Like they're making me feel good. I don't know if you realize it or not, but like it makes me like one of my questions is I was gonna be like, are you happy? Are you proud of yourself? Like pride's a funny thing, right? Because
it is a funny thing.
It's bad and all that. But
yeah.
dude, it's kind of like,
but you need it.
I think it's a big driver for, you know, for men, honestly. I
Yep.
mean, it's probably for everybody, but like for dudes, like you need to feel proud of yourself,
Yeah.
or like, it's kind of like, what is the point? You
Yep.
know, I think there's a lot of things associated with pride, like as dudes that are good for us and are good for us to admit and talk about.
Yeah. So
So
there's
it
a
makes me
couple
real stoked.
there's a couple thoughts on that. So when my son was being born, okay, I gotta put it in high gear. When my son was being delivered, right, or getting ready to be delivered, my mom gave me some really good advice. She said, when you get to the delivery room, make sure you have a job. And I was like, what do you mean? Like ask the nurse, like tell, like you need to hold something, you need to hand someone to something at some point, you need to go stare at a painting, whatever it is, make sure you have a job. And I was like, that's interesting, and it really comes from you need something to do as a man, and you need almost it almost gives you a sense of purpose. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned pride is there's definitely the really wrong kind of pride, and that you see that everywhere. Everyone has a bit of that, and I think the whole goal in life is to get rid of that, honestly, and work that out of your system as you get older and wiser. But you do need a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, especially as a man. I don't really know all the neurological differences between men and women, but there's definitely some big ones, and one of those ones is we derive our purpose from what we can provide, and if we feel like what we're providing isn't good enough, we're not going to be happy. And another thing I thought of, or not thought of, heard actually via Instagram. Instagram was pretty inspirational at times. It was some reel about if you're not being respected where you're at the wrong place, kind of thing. And that meant a lot to me because deep down, we're all important, we're all special, we all have abilities, some more than others, some more distinct than others, some more rare than others. But in the end, hey, if you're really good at making peanut butter and jelly sandwich, be proud of that. Like you put your heart and soul into your next peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and enjoy that, and get your satisfaction from that. But if someone doesn't care about your peanut butter and jelly making sandwich skills, and they don't think yours is all that great, well, it's just that you're just in the wrong kitchen. You got to find the peanut butter and jelly sandwich kitchen kind of thing. And so that meant a lot to me because doing accounting, I wasn't the best at it, but I was better than the kids in college, and I understood it, and I brought something unique to the table. But at the end of the day, it wasn't what they were looking for. They just want someone to sit there for 10 hours, grind out numbers, take little breaks. And for me, it's like, well, I like to talk to people and help people and help them with their accounting and finances and stuff. So long story short, yeah, you got to have that sense of accomplishment. And for guys, that we get a lot of our value from that. And I think that, the next level from that is realizing your value doesn't really come from what you provide. And it took me a long time to understand that, especially as a working father and husband, right? Like you're kind of set up through life knowing that you're going to provide for this family, and emphasis on you. Like even if your wife works, you have to be the provider. Like you are expected. And what you got to realize though is when you have that kid, are they valuable? Does your baby have a value? Of course it does. You love that kid. There's tons of value in that kid, and the value, even though they can't do anything. And so you got to translate that up to like, okay, you're a man. Even if you didn't do anything, you would also still have value. If you don't believe me, ask one of your parents if they're still around, because they will definitely tell you that.
Yeah.
And that was hard to accept. But I kind of, and I still struggle to accept it, because I'll have days where, let's talk about this week. This week I worked on, we'll call it 4 major mods that we're working on, and I made big progress on all of them. And then I was, always ambitious. I went for another stab at another project and kind of hit a lot of roadblocks, didn't get any traction on it. And I almost went to bed feeling like I didn't get anything done. I'm a failure.
Oh.
I didn't, this one thing, like, I can't believe I can't figure out this one thing. This one thing is just killing me. And you got to remember, it's just one thing, or at least I have to remember it's just one thing. And so, it's hard. That sense of value is such a slippery thing to achieve, but it's really you just got to remember it. It's not about what you can provide. It's not about what you can do. It's just your existence is valued. And so yeah, that's another soapbox. But
No, dude, I love it. Dang, dude, you came in clutch the other day too. Like, I was bumming about, like that one nasty comment or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever that I got. That wasn't even that nasty, dude. But you came in and you were like, dude, just it's one comment, dude. Who cares?
Yeah.
And, I struggle with that too. So it's like I get like exponentially more of those nice comments and people supporting and being happy and giving suggestions and making me feel like, yeah, I do provide some value. So, or happiness or a break or whatever. And so like that, it's the same thing. Thanks, dude. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, it comes
like,
from experience, like
Yeah.
it's easy to let the one go, I can't remember. I think it was, I can never pronounce his name correctly. I think Justium in the Discord, he said it really well the other day. But it's like, too bad it takes, 7 good comments to get past the one bad one kind of thing. And it's just the nature of I guess us as people. But yeah, I've had a few, they're not even that bad of comments. It's not like you're getting roasted or anything. It's just you took it pretty personal. I say you as in, we take it pretty personal. Yeah, for me, I had, I made a video the first time in a while. Glad, finally getting back on that boat kind of thing. And somebody mentioned like, hey, just go work on the mod. It's like, oh, that's kind of sucks. Like, they probably don't understand that making the videos is what fuels the modding content. And, I make a video like, wow, you know what? I'd really want to see this. I'd really like to rent out my car to lens flare and make money doing that way. And then I go, and, I got the idea because I was playing the game. And I was playing the game because I can make a video out of it. And so then, that fuels me to go make the mod. And then I'm making the mod. I'm like, oh, you know what? I should make a video about the mod I just made. And so it's kind of this cycle. But if you cut one part of the cycle out, then the other suffers. That's why the delivery system was broken so long, because I wasn't playing delivery stuff. I wasn't playing the mod. And so I didn't have that experience to go be like, let me fix this. Also, are we just climbing up this river? Like, are you still up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
don't want to be senselessly climbing this.
Dude.
That's funny.
I was just like, can I make it up this? And I mean, I did just have to reset. So
yeah, I might take a little trip on land because this part is really killing me.
Yeah, I went to the left over there too.
But yeah, it's hard to not let the one comment sour you. And I every time I'd open up the comment section, I'd have to, I'd see it again and be like, all right, remember what you think and what you believe, that it's, it's try to let it go. And it's hard, but that's the double-edged sword of being able to do what we do,
Yep. It's always learning and adapting, and yeah, I try to be like a duck, let it roll off your back and just don't let it get to you. But
you try to be like a duck?
Yeah, like water just rolls off their back. They have
I
like
didn't know that.
Feathers.
Oh.
Hydrophobic.
Sounds like you can't use that word these days.
Oh, right.
That's cool. I didn't know that about ducks. Makes sense. Speaking of hydrophobic, though,
dude, we could go somewhere else too. I'm surprised I made it up.
I'm struggling with this stuff. Hold on, let me hit this again. I tried to hit the rocks, but it was kind of slippery.
Have you aired down? How much?
I got about 5 psi.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it's pretty low. It's been good so far.
Yeah.
It's just these rocks are so slippery.
My engine kept trying to drown out right there too.
I haven't even gotten to that point yet. Here, let me just clutch dump or neutral drop this.
There we go.
Just needs to hit once. See, then it bogs? Like, what are you bogging on? Welcome to the struggle bus.
What did you say? You have a 2-speed?
Yeah. could be a little bit part of it. Oh my goodness. I'd say
This was a major side quest for me. Not even a trail. It was just like,
No, I like it.
I wonder, because I think we looped around and did the same thing twice. So I was just like, we definitely haven't gone up this waterfall.
I didn't even notice because I've just been, joining the conversation and just, that's been the background stuff for me. It feels like so.
Good. That's the goal.
Oh, okay. Well,
and I'm learning maybe don't do the super technical waterfall because it kills the conversation.
Oh, look, I made it.
There we go, dude. Nice. Just
no, I
use the old toe strap.
Yep. No, I love the crawling aspect of all this. It's a good vibe.
I don't even know where to go.
I already blew up my suspension again. Jeez, it's independent suspension. It was handling okay in West Coast, but dude,
this stuff's next level. I was kind of like a little bit of me was like, maybe this will give Raceless some ideas for rock crawls. Like, just
Well, without disclosing too much, I will say we're gonna get ready to start working on a new map here soon.
Nice.
We're not building a new map. Well, that's not quite true either. What I'm talking about is we're gonna bring career to a new map, and it's gonna be focused on off-roading and rock crawling and such. So, is the goal because West Coast, I'm getting tired of remaking the same thing as far as the map changes, and at the end of the day, you can only have so much there, and so we're just gonna go up a level. We're about to see it in a lot of different maps. I'm really excited for these next few weeks. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long, but you just never know.
Ooh. Dude, I love just shutting up and letting you talk, dude. Because I
spill all the beans.
Spill the beans, dude. Jeez. I was just like, nope, just be quiet. Let him go. He's going. Let him go.
No, I love sharing good news. It's super fun, dude. And it makes me feel like Christmas, and that feeling you get when you give that gift that you got someone that you're really excited for, like you're excited for them to open. Like, I'm excited for people to play this. I'm excited to see where this career goes, and honestly, we wouldn't be where we're at without the collaborations we've had, and collaborating on these big projects is what really I think the BeamNG community needs. It really makes things. It helps development come by faster, provides more content, and ultimately makes the game more popular, gives the devs more money, devs start investing more into the game. It's the cycle, right? And so happy to be a part of the cycle, and I'm really excited to see where the future goes next as we bring certain things to more accessible to others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude. And on that note, I don't think that us as the enjoyers, I don't like saying community, even though that's what it is, but like we don't give enough flowers to the collection and all of the that it takes. Because I know you have to reach out to all these modders, and dude, like we have. My favorites are the Talking Bath just jumped on with those wheels and tires for the gold Patreon members, right? And is that coming out for other folks?
Yeah, so that's in gold for now, but it will come out free to everybody as part of the collection in May.
Okay, perfect. And then, dude, like his Patreon, I think it's like $5, and you get all his stuff. So support him as well. Like, and there's more that he has of his stuff.
Yeah.
And then like BDR as well, dude. I love methods. Yeah. The wheels and dude, the fact that I could put methods and go to your Wranglers on whatever I want makes me real happy, dude. So like in Tom's stuff too, like there you have put together a really good collection. People are just like, oh dude, mash the button, get the Ebishu Plus stuff as well, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just such a sucker for all these mods, like little trinkets to add to your vehicles.
Yep.
So like the fact that it's like one you got to download one big file,
Yep.
and you have access to all these things that otherwise you'd have to, do sketchy modland things, or like
Yep.
join all these different Patreons, or
Yep.
like you doing the legwork to put these things together is a bigger deal than you make, I think, and like it's underappreciated. That's
Well,
all I'm trying to say.
well, I
So
really
thank
appreciate
you.
that because it is one of those that it's very what do you call it? I choose what goes into it, and so with that comes like, hey, here's my opinion on things, and that can be either ripped apart or given thanks, and it really comes down to you know there's been times in the past where I'm like, you know what, I just want that really good group of mods. Like why can't someone just package them all together? Like here's, let's talk about real car mods. Here's 10 real car mods that work well, kind of thing. And you just one download, so you don't have to go, piece them all together and then all that stuff. And so, that's always been a need to be filled, I think, or it's just a quality of life thing. Additionally, the issue really came into, certain mods worked well in career and certain ones different, and I was just disabling and enabling tons of different mods and have to do it every time I switched game modes, kind of thing. So I didn't want to lose my free roam mods stuff, but they broke the career, so I had to disable them to play career. But then, so there's the issue of just disabling a ton of mods, and around the same time, it was actually Ector from Ector Plays that was like, "Hey, what if you did a pack of mods?" And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. There's two people, me and him, that would really want to see this. And when I did that, there's a lot of benefits that came from it. The dealerships were a lot happier. You'll notice sometimes you spawn in one mod and that one mod takes over. It's less likely with the collection, but it can still happen with a couple big mods.
B50.
yeah. And so, wait, are you talking about the little mini car?
Yeah, dude, that's all I hear when I spawn in career.
Okay, on that note, that's because your traffic settings are not set to simplified traffic only.
Okay, dude.
You're saying
Thank you.
any car come in and be a traffic, where you need to say only simple traffic be a traffic. And then it'll use the vanilla simple traffic. That's going to be easier on frames. Because people were having that issue. And that's the hard part, is like, I never saw that issue. And I had to think, okay, well, why are they seeing it? Why am I not seeing? Well, it's probably traffic pooling. Oh, yeah, there's a setting. Maybe this will help someone. And sure enough, that turned out to be the thing. But the collection really has... The collection has spiraled into a really big mod. And it was never meant to be. But it is nice to be able to be like, here's one giant pack. But again, it's just so... like, what do you call it? Selective, and it's basically what I like. And if you don't like what I like, then well, don't tell me about it. Just go do something else, kind of thing.
Yep.
But I hope to get more into it. One thing that really fuels it is I only allow myself to use the collection mods and streaming and stuff. And because of how much I'm working on the game, I don't get to really play the game that much, and so. I can only have those kind of mods, and so it helps me be like, oh, I really want to see that mod. I gotta get it in the collection. What does it take to get him in the collection, kind of thing. But yeah,
dude, it's a godsend. It really is, and it's plenty too. Like you don't have to play with other mods. Do you like?
Yeah,
it gives you so much.
It's kind of one of those things. It's like I forced myself into this box where I can only play with collections. So when there's only like 10 mods, it's like, man, this kind of stinks. I got to keep working on this. I got to get more. And now it's kind of, this is how I play it. And there's more. I force myself not to look at the mod page anymore, because if I do, I'm going to start reaching out to creators and seeing if they want to, if they would allow it. But yeah.
Well, dude, I think this is probably a good place to call it.
I think so. It's a beautiful
We've
waterfall.
been going for a minute, dude. This is a nice spot. We can have some lunch. And dude, this has been such a good time. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I'm gonna really appreciate your footage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what a rookie mistake, dude. But dude, maybe that's the way I'll do it. I'll just be like, hey, you have to record, dude, and then send this to me because I want it all to be from your perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, what a dummy. But it's learning. So thank you for being a part of my learning process and for pressing the record button.
Of course. Happy to do it.
But
And yeah, I mean, I think it's such a cool idea to do a podcast where you're kind of talking to the I know you don't like the word, but the community, the creators and whoever, because who knows where this goes. Maybe you'll get some devs on here. Maybe you'll get some really big creators. Maybe like it's hard to get your voice. It's hard to pull voices together from the BeamNG community because we're so kind of spread out and focused in our own little areas. And shedding some more light on the background of some of these people is such a cool idea, and doing it while rock crawling too, like that's fun. That's challenging. It's a good challenge where you gotta focus, but then you also gotta like try to talk while crawling. That could be really hard at times.
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be that hard, but it was.
Okay, two more questions. Is there anything that, like, if you were in my shoes, is there anything you wish like that I would have asked you? Like anything like, along those lines? Like,
That's a good question. I think you asked really good questions. I can't no, I can't think of anything that other than if you wanted to pry for more sneak peeks of what's coming up next. I know I kind of just opened it up and let you have it, but we do have a lot of things in the works, and I don't know if there's any rumors you've heard or anything like that. It'd be a good opportunity to clear up those or share. Oh yeah, we're actually not working on this, but this is where it comes from, kind of thing. But maybe you haven't heard any rumors, so maybe that's probably a good thing. So
no, dude. I'm a loner, semi-loner as well, dude. I I try and stick to myself. I really get
Yep.
stoked when people jump in the comments and stuff, but dude, people are just happy with what we get. I mean, obviously they're impatient,
Yeah.
but that's human nature.
Yep. It's a good problem to have.
And yeah, dude, that means they're stoked on your stuff.
Exactly.
So, no, we'll stay out of the rumor mill.
Okay.
I was trying to think of like a good like final follow-up question, but like I actually don't really know. I think we covered like a lot of the bases. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's my final question was going to be like, are you? I mean, it was we talked a lot. Like, are you happy? And you've already answered that tenfold. So
I definitely
I'm
have
happy
that.
for you, dude.
I definitely have that dream job, and it's so funny because it's weird wanting to work so bad. It was a couple weeks in, I had to start forcing myself to take breaks and take days off. People are like, you got to take a day off. I'm like, oh, but I don't want to. And then
Dude,
it'd
me too.
be
Go to bed.
Yeah, it'd be like Saturday night or something. It's like, all right, Sunday we're taking the day off, and I'd get off from working at like midnight and be like, oh no, tomorrow's my day off. No, like it's such a weird. Everything completely flipped, and so I'm happier than I could ever be. I just gotta keep the gas pedal down to make sure it lasts, but also not keep the gas pedal on so far that it burns out the motor, right? So
yeah, dude,
it's a balance.
Good.
But I guess
right,
for
man.
anyone watching in the comments, if you have questions, I'd love to be on this podcast again sometime, and maybe ask your questions down there, and next time we can answer them.
Yeah, dude. Fan questions. Dude, thanks again for everything. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks. I've already thanked you for everything. I feel like, dude, like also like this has given me a platform. Before I started making career mode videos, I was
Sure.
making little like doo-doo beam edits, just like me, doing whatever I wanted to do that got no views. And then
Yeah.
I posted a career video and because I saw McGrory doing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like I like watching this, so I'll give it a shot. And it's been growing. It's the weirdest thing for me that people like to watch me play a video game and just yap, dude, because I feel like I get yap attacks. But
Yep.
dude, it's good vibes, dude, and this is a real good it's a real good platform to just kind of mess around, dude. Like it's not too serious, but it's as serious as you want to take it, right?
That's
And
exactly it. Yep.
It's cool.
I think the best form of success that I could ever ask for is the success that the more successful I am, that somehow generates into other people finding their success or finding their passion or compounding off of that. I think you can't get a better reward than that, really.
Well, you are contributing to other folks. You're doing the damn thing. I'll put it like that. So, all right, dude, we got to wrap it up, or we could keep going all day, huh?
Yep.
All right, then. Well, this has been SlopGear. This has been Raceless. I'm Justin Revs. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you in the next one. I love you. God loves you. Cooper loves you. Bye.
See ya.